This is my presentation on the life of Lois Lowry by Raquel Gomez. Lois Lowry was born Lois Ann Hammersberg on March 20th, 1937 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Lois is one of America's most popular children's book authors. She was a shy and introverted child who loved to read. When she was about 8 or 9 years old, she decided to become a writer. Her father was a dentist and an Army officer, which led her to live in several places around the world growing up. Lois spent some of her early education years in Japan and graduated high school in New York City. She spent 2 years at Brown University before dropping out to get married. These are some important events that took place in Lois's life. She was born on March 20th in 1937 in Honolulu, Hawaii. She was born into a military family, so they moved frequently. She was born during World War II, and it appears that her books reflect these events. For example, Number the Stars is a book that takes place during World War II, and The Giver is a futuristic story where there is no famine, death, hatred, or prejudice. I feel this also reflects World War II because thousands of people lost their lives during this time, whether they were fighting in the war or they were killed by German soldiers for being Jewish. In 1958, her daughter Alex was born. Then the next year, Gray, her son. Gray later died as an adult, and she discusses his death in her biography book, and she also discusses his death. She writes a book about him. It's about his life. It's not necessarily an autobiography on him. It's just a kind of a tale about him. And she explains how a piece of her heart died that day, understandably. In 1977, she published her first novel, A Summer to Die. Then 20 years later, she received 2 Newbery Medals, one in 1990 for Number the Stars, and the second one in 1994 for The Giver. Lois Lowry's career. At 19 years old, she married Naval Officer Donald Lowry. The couple moved around a lot because Donald's military career. They had 4 children, Alex and Kristen, who were their daughters, and sons Gray and Ben. Lois Lowry was living in Maine with her family when she decided to finish college and eventually earned her bachelor's degree from University of Southern Maine in the early 1970s. In 1977, Lois published her first novel, A Summer to Die, which was based on her own experience of losing her older sister Helen at a young age. She was going through a lot of personal challenges during this time because her and her husband were going through a divorce. 2 years later, she published her Finding series of novels featuring Anastasia Krupnik. She later published a series about Anastasia's younger brother, Sam. In 1979, Lois published Autumn Street. That was a novel from her own life. These are some of Lois Lowry's greatest books. One of her greatest books is Number the Stars, which came out in 1989 and is a story about a 10-year-old girl named Anne-Marie Johansson who lives in Copenhagen, Denmark. It is about her escape of her and her Jewish family during World War II, and it won the Newbery Medal in 1990. Her next greatest book is The Giver, which came out in 1993, and The Giver is a story told from the point of view of Jonas, an 11-year-old boy living in a futuristic society that has eliminated all pain, fear, war, and hatred, and it won the Newbery Medal in 1994. And then one of her next greatest books is called Gathering Blue, which is a part of the Giver Quartet, and there's 4 books in the Giver Quartet, and this story is similar to The Giver, but it focuses on the dystopian civilization that has moved backwards with technology, and it focuses on a simple society with harsh standards where the weak are discarded. And it's kind of similar to the series of Insurgent and Divergent series. Here are some pictures. The picture on the left is Lois Lowry, and the picture on the right is a very special picture to Lois because it's of her granddaughter Nadine, and Nadine is her son Gray's daughter, who tragically died when Nadine was 2 years old. He was an Air Force flight instructor and died when his F-15 crashed on takeoff. Nadine holds a special place in Lois's heart because Nadine has no memory of her father. Lois tries to give her as much knowledge as possible about her father, Gray. Nadine is now 22 years old. And that's all for my presentation right now, and I'm going to go over more in class. Thank you.